I feel like my friends who know me in real life, if they see this video, they're gonna be like, what? They're gonna be shook. But yeah, I don't know why, I just felt like sharing this. Yeah, so hi, I'm 23 years old, and I just wanted to share my thoughts on this because I think a lot of people will also go through this. Maybe it's a rite of passage, I'm not sure. So yeah, disclaimer, this video I'm just making to share my thoughts only, just because mana tahu other people also go through this, and then you also, oh, I relate, oh. I don't know, but yeah, I'm not making this to like bash religion or anything, or like bash Christianity or anything like that. Okay, love it, but so a bit of context. I did grow up in a Christian family. Actually, my dad was Sikh, but then my parents divorced, and I grew up with my mom's side. Why am I pointing at my mom's side of the family, who is Christian? My mom is Christian, and so I also grew up Christian. But I didn't really take it seriously, typical young people, right? Church so boring, I don't want to wake up. I only go just to see my friends, okay? And especially me and my best friend, we used to serve in church. I grew up Anglican, by the way, so it is quite, traditional lah, boring lah. So, but I just go because it's fun to like serve. I used to play like piano or guitar in the Sunday school with my best friend. Shout out to her if she's watching. And also we used to do, serve in church lah together. That was like the only part of it that I liked, was like, friends and all that. But I didn't really live out my faith, So, on Sunday go to church, repent, and next day jadi setan balik, And I don't mean like I did terrible things, but I just mean typical young kids or like teenagers. I would, I curse, I gossip. I didn't really care about like living out the word or anything, but I did believe. I don't know how to explain this. I guess you can say lukewarm is like the closest definition I can get to it, because I didn't exactly not practice religion. I did love God. Like I did actually genuinely love Jesus. Okay, so no more touching the phone. I hope this is fine. I did actually love Jesus, but I didn't read the Bible. I never touched the Bible one, Okay, like I only read it. The only version I ever really read of it was like the comic version. I used to have the comic Bibles. We used to get it from Sunday school as part of like Christmas gift. Oh, it was so good. The comics are good. But yeah, and the only like snippets of the Bible that I would read was the kind that I would get in church or like in Sunday school or in Girls Brigade. Shout out to GB. But yeah, I was just that kind of kid, But I, just to summarize my like faith journey, I guess you can say, is I only started to take it seriously when I was like 18. It was during COVID. Yeah, and I was like, I don't know, I just came to this realization. I stopped going to church when I was 17 actually, because I realized that it was just a meaningless routine. Yeah, and it just didn't mean much to me. So like, is this the right thing to do to even go? So I stopped, and then when I was 18, that's when I started reading the Bible by myself, like at home, because there was nothing to do during COVID. I was like, you know what? I don't know what even prompted me to do that. I just came to this realization, like, maybe I need to take it seriously. Like, that's not good to just have it be a routine and call myself a Christian, right? I don't know where that realization came from, but yeah, I'm glad it did. So, and then that's when I actually started reading the Bible in 2020 when I was 18, and I read it a lot because there was nothing to do. And at some point during that time, that's when I experienced being born again, because like I said, I was always saved. I did always go to church. I did always love Jesus, but I wouldn't say I was born again, simply because I was not living out my faith. And yeah, if you're wondering, because my parents are different religion, right? I didn't practice Sikhism, because I think the last time I ever went to like the Gurdwara, like we used to go, is like when I was very small, and after that I was just like Christian. Yeah, but whenever I go visit my dad, sometimes like he will talk about it, but it's like just normal only. But I was like a Christian, but I'll follow him to his place of prayer, if you get what I mean. So yeah, and okay, back to this 2020. That's when I took my faith seriously. I think that's when I had my born again experience, and that is where everything started to go uphill. And it was actually in that time, I think it was around September when I created my YouTube channel, which is actually this channel. This might look like the first video on this channel, but there were actually a lot more. My friends will know. And there were actually like a few, there were people who used to watch this channel. But yeah. So that is when I made this channel. It was made to be a Christian channel. Like, cause I was so transformed. Like, I was like, dang, I'm actually a Christian girl now. I'm so transformed. I will never be the same again. Because let me tell you, during that time, I got over my eating disorder. So yeah, that's one of the big things that God did in my life. So that was like a very big like factor in me being like, you know, this is real. So that's when I made this channel. And I used to make like videos to like encourage Christians. Like I was a Christian YouTuber. That the first name of this channel was The Christian Cat. That's what I named it. And then I used to make like, I started making reaction videos to like Christian metal because I'm metalhead. And you know, I got into Christian metal. I was like, whoa. You know, because like typical as a kid who grew up in church, I was told, you know, to not listen to that kind of music. But then to find out that there were Christians making that kind of music, girl, love. And I think it actually seemed like things were going well. Like I was so into like, you know, I found my faith again, and you know, this is real, and I've been taking it for granted all this time. I'll never take it for granted again. And then I went to uni in 2022, and still on fire. And I used to do quiet time all the time. I think, but the thing is, this was when I was still like on fire for it. So I didn't know how to like study the Bible properly or anything like that. I just used to read it like surface level. There was no like, I didn't know about commentaries or anything. But I was still, you know, growing in God, just even reading it literally just by the verse. Of course, that would create problems if it went on forever, because I'm basically interpreting it myself. But it worked at the beginning. So, but I did have this mentality. This is what gave me this mentality of like, I don't need to go to church, because it made me think like, okay, the people in church, how faithful are they? You know, what if they just, how many of them actually like live out their faith? You know, because that was me, right? And so this is what made me think like, oh, I don't really need to go to church. So I didn't go to church for like, I think 3 years. Yeah, and then when I went to uni, that's when my friends started inviting me to a church. And at first I was like, no, and then eventually I went. So, but I only like started going regularly in 2023, because before that I was still like having this on-off relationship with church. Like, I don't really need to go. But then yes, my eyes got open to the very good things of church, of having a community and not doing it alone, because that church was very big on like community and doing life together. That's what they used to say. I never heard people say that before, but it sounded so nice. Like, I'm from an Anglican background, but this church was non-denominational, so it's a very different thing for me. And you know, it was appealing. It was really appealing. Like, I was like, at first I was like, wow, this is kind of what I always wanted in a church. Like a church that is not boring, a church that is not strict, that is not ritualistic. You know what I mean? Like, you know, because I thought it was so boring, like all those, you know, services and but yeah. And you know, that was part of what was so appealing about this new church. And that's also part of why I started going, because it was fun, it was upbeat, you know, it was loud, it was different. And as a young person, that attracted me. Also, the faith of these people really rubbed off on me. Like this non-denom church, I think this is really just a very non-denominational Christian thing. These people tend to be very faithful. And I've talked about this with my other friends who have also experienced both traditional and modern churches. Like, they also say the same thing. Like, people who grow up in tradition like me, especially if they're like a second gen or third gen Christian, they will tend to take their faith for granted because it's just a routine. But the people who like get saved and converted, usually as an adult in like non-denominational churches, they didn't grow up with it. because they're very new and they take their faith so seriously. So these people really rubbed off on me. There was something different. There was something new. And you know, they became my family, they became my friends, and this really encouraged me a lot to grow in my faith. So this church really played a big role in it. And along this time, I was still making videos. I used to make a lot of vlogs as well, and still like Christian themed videos, because I was still on fire for the Lord, girl. And this church was very big on evangelism, which I guess is a very common thing of like those modern churches. They're very big on it. And this is what I want to get at this video, okay? I think this is how I started to go a bit too far with it. And I'm gonna like try to say this, and I'm saying I'm not painting Christianity in a bad way. I'm not painting church in a bad way. This is just a very honest experience that I have. I really took Christianity too far, I think, because I was still in this phase, and you might think it's a very long time to be in that phase, like 2020 to like 2023, 2024. I was in this phase of like, I need to tell people about Jesus. But yeah, I would say it's that, I think it's because I had rediscovered this thing that I had taken for granted my whole life, and I was like, I'm never gonna let it go anymore. And I can't let it go. Okay? And I think that's what made me so eager about it. And I really became that Christian girl. I became that Christian girl. Like, I used to try I wouldn't say I was like that Christian girl, but I tried my best. Like, I tried my best to do quiet time every day. And that was a time when I was actually really good at it, doing it every day. And I learned how to use commentaries, and I, served in church. I was very active in church. I used to try and show up to everything, because this church was like very active, okay? And sometimes it was really tiring. So like, shout out to all those full-time pastors and people who work in the church, because I don't know how you all do it. Because this church, it has like, sometimes not only does it have the thing on Sunday, but it also has like prayer services on like Tuesdays, or like something on Saturday. And I tried my best to show up for everything, okay? And also helped because I was really close to the community. Really nice people. Still friends with them. So, yeah, I really tried to, because church was basically my life. Like, this was my life now. Christianity is my life, and I'm never gonna take it for granted again. That's what I always told myself. Never again. How could you ever take this for granted? You're never gonna let this go. But what I didn't realize is that turned me into someone I don't want to be anymore at this time, which is someone who, I the way I can describe it also is, I saw this interview with like Brian Head Welch from Korn, and he also said the same thing, that he also took Christianity too far when he was in his early days. Because the thing about being in that like honeymoon stage of Christianity, or like baby, how am I considered baby Christian? I'm technically not baby Christian because I knew it my whole life, but I would still call myself a baby Christian in this context, because I was technically someone who just again gave herself to God. I would say I was like a new baby Christian, because I was so on fire for it at this time, and that made me do some things that I am not proud of. I didn't want to talk about this, but I've repented of it. We all make mistakes, am I right? I literally used to like talk to people and just hope for a kind of opportunity for me to insert God into the conversation. Like, because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to evangelize, and like the Bible says, like make the most of every opportunity. But I used to be like, I think it took over me actually just making friends, or like me just getting to know the person, or me just getting to know the person's struggles. It was always like, even I did have like a need, a want to like hear people out and listen to them and get to know them. That was a very genuine thing. I'm not saying it was fake. Like when I talked to someone and people open up to me, and I met a lot of people in my youth in my uni days. Shit, I baru habis study a few months ago. But I met a lot of people when I was in uni, right? And for context, by the way, I finished uni a few months ago. So yeah, I mean, during those 3 years, I meet a lot of people and I talk to a lot of people and I get to know a lot of people's struggles. You know, people from different backgrounds. And it was so nice. But looking back, I don't feel like I was always genuinely talking to them all the time. I feel like sometimes I would like talk to people and yeah, listen to their struggles and all that genuinely, but hope that I can like insert something of like, oh, how I found hope in God or how I carry on is because Jesus. Is that wrong? I wouldn't say that's wrong. I just have a conflict with who it made me become. Because I think it made me see people as like projects. Made me see people as things that I should evangelize to. Instead of just like human being. And I don't blame anyone for that. I don't blame the non-denom church for that. Or anything. Maybe it's just a rite of passage that all Christians go through. We all go through that stage of like, I need to tell everyone. But we don't realize we're like being obnoxious. I think that's the word. So, yeah. And I think what's messed up about it is that I would paint it as testimonies. Like, I would share it in church or in my cell group or whatever and be like, oh, this week I got to tell someone about Jesus. Which is noble. But should I have been seeing people as projects? Is what I'm saying here. That's a conflict. So that's basically the kind of person I became. And I would say I took it to the extreme sometimes. I don't want to say what I used to do, but I used to be very active on TikTok. And I've said some things about groups of people or groups of beliefs that I'm not proud of. And I've taken down that account, I've taken down those videos. But yes. So I finished my studies a few months ago already. And so I left because I was studying in Selangor, but I'm back in Sarawak. I'm from Sarawak. And so it was only when I was almost leaving when I started to like think about stuff. And it was only after I left that these things like dawned on me, because like now I'm out of my community there, you know, I haven't seen them in a few months, I've been just at home, I've been, you know, in a different place and thinking about life. A lot of thoughts have emerged from that. A lot of thoughts. And some of those things, one of those things is that sometimes I reflect on the life that I had before I was devout, right? The life that I had growing up as a cultural Christian, going to church but not living it out. Sometimes I reflect on it and I miss it. I miss not having to be accountable. I miss not getting like convictions or not listening to convictions and just treating it as like it's just what I do every Sunday kind of thing. Sometimes I miss that. Because, you know, life as the devout Christian, which is what it's supposed to be, right? It does something to you. It kind of, it's supposed to take over, but I don't know if I'm cut out for that. It's kind of weird to say, right? But because there was a time when I was so devoted to this. It is not even that long ago. But I feel like I'm a totally different, like I feel like I'm so much older also, even though I'm just like 3 years older or what. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I'm 5 years older from 5 years older from when it first started. And there were times also when I was during that time that I used to look back on my old life and miss it. Like, how was it back when this didn't matter that much to me, when I didn't care about evangelizing, when and it's part of that nostalgia, I think, that kind of played into me rethinking if I wanted to be devout anymore. And in this time, that these past few months, that I've been thinking, that it's even come to points where I literally think about like just leaving, as in like renouncing. But it's also, I could never like I don't think I could ever. And I think I'm just starting to realize that maybe this is all part of maturing. Like, this is all, everyone goes through that, and everyone makes that mistake of becoming that obnoxious Christian to learn and to grow. Maybe because Brian Head Welch also went through it, so like maybe it's a common thing. Maybe we all go through that stage of like, look what I found. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying maybe the way I presented it, I don't stand by the way I presented it. So in this time of like thinking and all that, I've taken down things. I used to have like, typical Bible verses in my like IG bio and like stuff like that. I used to have posts about church, because I'm very active on like Instagram. My friends know I used to post a lot. I still do. But I used to post a lot about my life and about my beliefs, and because that's what I love. Like, I used to post about church, but I took them down. I don't even have a Bible verse in my bio right now. It also makes me sad when I look back on how I tried to be like that Christian girl, because I was so happy to like finally take my faith seriously, and also I was in such a good environment in that non-denom church, and I just really wanted to fit in, and I wanted to prove to myself that I could do this, that I could be that Christian girl. And one of the things I did was to change my style, which sounds so random, but the thing is, growing up, I listened to rock music, metal music my whole life, and like I used to wear black a lot. But when I started getting serious and also like involved in this non-denom church, I really, really wanted to look like that Christian girl. That's my fault. No one pushed that on me. But I started to like I used to wear a lot of dresses. There was like a phase, I think last year, when I just really tried to be really girly. And like, I love girly things, but I've never been girly to that extent. Like, I used to wear a lot of like colored bracelets. I used to try to like really soft makeup, pink. I used to wear pink eyeshadow. I used to wear hair clips, like very girly, very pink. My favorite color is not even pink, it's blue. But I really wanted to like be that soft Christian girl, because I thought that was part of me improving myself. But at some point, like last year, I think it was like October, November, I started to like just give up, because that's not me, like literally I have piercings right now, and I like to wear chains and skulls, and I like to wear dark colors, and part of me was disappointed in myself for not being able to keep up with that image. I was disappointed in myself that I like fallen back on what I was before, even though it's literally just clothing. Like, it's not even that deep, right? It's not even satanic or anything. But because I had built up an image of myself that if I was to be this radical, on fire Christian that I had to try to fit in, and I just couldn't, like, it just didn't last. But I felt bad because, like, people used to compliment me on what I wore, like when I started wearing very girly things. Like, people used to compliment me on my style and all that, but that didn't last. That was me trying to look a certain way, and I felt bad when it didn't last. And I just went back to just being myself, which I felt was like a failure, you know? Like, no, I'm supposed to be paying. I'm supposed to wear like a Christian girl, and I really admired what they used to wear, because I just couldn't do it. And that's a very random thing. Like, no one ever pushed that on me, you know? No one said you should look like this. It was just something that I did because I loved Jesus so much that I wanted to look like his community, if that makes sense. No one pushed that on me. And like I said, like, I felt so bad when I stopped doing that, because I felt like I had lied to everyone, and that I wasn't actually this girl who like wears skirts all the time and dresses, and I feel like I give up, and giving up is not a good thing. So that's a random filler episode there about clothes. Yeah, so like I said, in this time after I left, I thought about it a lot. I've been thinking about it. I think about it, and the thing about me removing posts and all that, it's not because I've left Christianity. I don't have like Bible verse in my bio because I don't believe in the Bible anymore. No, I think I've just matured. Like, all these things that I've mentioned in this video may seem like I have backslid or I have like left, you know. It may seem like a bad thing, and I don't know what it is even, but what I've realized is I think it's just maturing as a Christian or as any religious person. It's just maturing, and I'm just not in that phase anymore. Like, I've realized the reality of it is not rainbows and sunshine. It's not. I don't feel hopeful all the time. One other thing I think that I used to do is that I used to just pretend like I was over things. Like, because in that church, you know, we always hear like we are supposed to be overcomers. We can overcome in Christ. And I used to look at Christians who struggle with things and be like, why haven't you overcome? Like, you can overcome. But to be honest, looking back, I think I only acted like I had overcome a lot of things. Not to say like God didn't help me overcome things, but there were some things that were still in progress. Okay. But I acted like those things did not bother me anymore because I needed to evangelize. How can I say to people that you need Jesus because Jesus can heal you if I am not healed? So I didn't mention a lot of things to people because I didn't want to look like I haven't healed from things. I think that's why actually my friends used to say like I seem a very happy person, which is true. I mean, like, I am generally positive, thank God for that. But I think I played it up a lot more than I actually was feeling. Like, yeah, like I was not actually like that happy. Like, obviously I have things inside, or like things from my past, like everyone does. But I think if you were to ask me, I would act like I had overcome those things. I'd be like, yeah, because God. Because I can't look like I haven't overcome things. Because I'm supposed to be an overcomer. And I'm not blaming anyone for this. I'm not going to blame any church person. No one taught me this. I think it's just something that kind of went into me. I think I misunderstood what overcome meant, maybe. Yeah, I used to like downplay my own struggles because I can't look like I haven't healed. I'm supposed to be a child of God. I'm supposed to be healed so that I can invite you to become a child of God. That's one of the things that I look back on. I think I used to be like very loud with it. I used to take any opportunity because I didn't even realize it. I didn't even mean it this way, but it's just that it was my whole life. And it was something that I love so much. So I used to, I used to, like, you know, post a lot of Bible things and, like, have Bible verses in my bio and stuff like that. But over this time of me thinking over my relationship with Christianity, I've decided that, you know, I want my actions to speak louder than those things, you know. So that's why I decided to just not post that much about it or talk that much about it, because I want to challenge myself to live in that way, instead of like someone finding out on my bio that, like, you know, she's Christian. I want to see people as just humans, not as like a project. Why is that so hard? Like, why is that so hard for me to understand back then? I should still live my lifestyle in a Jesus way, but if someone notices it, then that's great. But, you know, okay, I don't know what I'm saying. Sorry, this phone is on a plushie, so it's like very unstable. But yeah, I try not to hold anything against myself for all the mistakes that I made and all the things that I'm not proud of, because that's just a learning process, you know. I'm not gonna lie, I used to actually silently judge Christians who were not loud about it, because that's the thing about being in a very evangelistic crowd, like the non-denom church, is that, you know, I was very inspired by that, and it rubbed off on me, which is part of why I also became like that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm saying it, like, for me, it's like I took it too far, you know. And I used to like kind of judge Christians who were not like that, like Christians who didn't use any opportunity they have, or, like, you know, were a bit more private with it. But now that I've matured, I look back and I'm like, that is actually wrong. And those Christians who were like silent about it and not shouting about it, they were actually very good examples in their life. Like, they were hardworking, they were kind, they were patient, you know, those things, which when I look back kind of speaks more than what I did, you know. What I did can actually give Christianity a bad name. If, let's say, if I'm shouting about it, but I make a mistake, people can easily just be like, oh, I don't need to take her seriously anymore, you know, because, like, what if my actions doesn't match my words, you know? So I think I was using too much words, to be honest. I'm really not the best person. I'm not the best example in anything. And I think for someone, for me to be shouting about it like that, it was, I think I gave Christianity a really bad name. And yeah, all of it came from a good place. I'm not denying that. I did nothing with ill intention. But I think sometimes I let my intention, which I thought was good, kind of take over the logical parts of it. Like, sometimes I would say things with not enough knowledge or not enough research. Act like I knew so much about it. I really hope my friends who watch this video don't bring this up, what I did. Please don't bring it up. I've hurt many people in the name of religion. So where do I stand now? As someone who went through the honeymoon Christianity stage and took it too far, and is now in the stage of like, dang, I made a lot of mistakes. I'm still a believer, but I'm going to keep it to trying to demonstrate it through my lifestyle instead of relying on words, and not seeing human beings as projects, you know. And yeah, I think I became the thing that I didn't like in a way. Like I became someone I don't stand by anymore. And it's okay. It's part of growing up. That's what I tell myself. It's part of growing up. Like you kind of have to go through stuff like that to learn, right? You know, I want to be someone who is hardworking, who is punctual, who is kind, who does her job well. Live my life right with the Christian beliefs that I learned, which are really good teachings. You know, that's one of the things where like I don't think I could ever. I think even if I ever leave Christianity, like I can't ever deny the fact that it taught me very, very good things. It really built my character, you know. So, you know, I'm just gonna take those and let those shout for itself, because I'm here to be a good example. I'm gonna try my best, and I just want to focus on like I want to make music, I want to make art or whatever work I do in the future. I mainly want to use social media for that. Yeah, if I ever post on social media, it will most likely be about, I'll try to make it be about like things I'm passionate about, because there are people out there who can do the Christian thing, who can make Christian videos, and they are Christian influencers, you know, and stuff like that, and they manage to not fall into the whole zealous thing that I fell into. But I don't think I'm capable of that. So yeah. That's why I deleted like everything. Because this channel used to have a lot of videos, including like Christian videos. I took all of that down. Yeah, because I don't. That's just not my thing. I want to focus on art and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know what this was, but I don't know if it's relatable to people who also go through this. And yeah, I don't think I call myself that religious anymore. I think you can classify me as like someone who's not very devout anymore, who used to be like super devout Christian. I would say I'm still like devout, like inside, I still believe a lot, but I would say like through what I post or what I say, it might not seem that way because I'm not shouting. I think you would say I'm not like evangelical is how I would put it, I guess. Yeah, I don't think I can call myself that much of a religious person anymore. But yeah, I will say this though, God bless.